Hey everybody, it's Evan Easton, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how we can create a Kaytranada type beat inside of Ableton. Kaytranada is a Canadian multi-Grammy winning producer who's worked with the likes of Anderson .Paak, Goldlink, and Pharrell Williams, just to name a few. He's got a very distinct production style, mixing his R&B influences into house and hip-hop type productions, and I think he's got a very particular sound selection as well, using a lot of organic samples as his drums mixed with digital and vintage style synths. So in this demonstration, I just want to show you some of the production techniques and sound selection choices that Kaytranada uses in his production that might inspire you for your own productions. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so right now we're inside of Ableton. Kaytranada songs are often in between like 100 and 120 BPM, so I set mine to 115. A lot of his music is quite synth heavy. And he'll often use sort of floaty synths. So I'm gonna start off by opening up Serum. So right now we're inside of Serum, and I'm gonna open up my oscillator A. Gonna go into some Wavetables I downloaded from SynthHacker's website, and I should note that the synth I'm about to program is actually completely stolen from SynthHacker's YouTube channel. So I'm gonna put a link to his video in the description, as well as a link to the Wavetables that you can download on his website. Yeah, his YouTube channel is a very good source to find out more about programming software synths, especially inside of Serum. So definitely go check him out. So I'm going to go into SynthHacker's Wavetable collection. I'm going to go into Analog and choose a triangle wavetable. Next, I'm going to set the LFO to an upward slope. I'm going to turn off BPM, and I'm going to set my rate to about 0.5 Hertz. Then I'm going to link my LFO to the wavetable position, and I'm going to set the unison to 5, and I'm going to detune to about 0.8. Then I'm going to go into my envelope. I'm going to increase the attack quite a bit. I'm going to increase the decay to about 2.3, and I'm going to decrease the sustain quite a bit, and I'm going to increase my release. I'm going to make this sort of a downward slope. So you're getting kind of this shape right here. And that sounds like this. Alright, next I'm going to add a pitch shifting effect. So I'm going to go into my matrix tab. I'm going to set my source to Chaos 1. I'm going to set the destination to... I'm going to go into the global settings and set that to master tune, so it's affecting the overall pitch. I'm going to set the amount quite low, let's say 5. And you can hear that's actually quite extreme, so I'm going to turn the output down also to about 5. So it's not that prominent, it's more of a vibrato kind of effect. So next, I'm going to go back to the oscillator tab. I'm going to set my portamento to about 105. So you can see it's sort of sliding into my chords as if I'm using a pitch bender. Okay, next I'm going to make it sound a bit more lo-fi, so I'm going to turn on the filter, and I'm going to link the envelope to the cutoff. It's not doing much, but I'm going to decrease it quite a bit. That's a bit too much. You can do this all to taste, you know? Just listen to your ears. Yeah, I like it about there. Next, I'm going to go into the Effects tab, EQ. I'm going to high pass it. Add a bit of a flanger effect, because a lot of Kaytranada synths use flangers. That's a lot, so I'm gonna decrease the mix. I think that sounds good. Next, I'm gonna add some external effects. Let's add RC20 Classic. I'm just gonna turn off the noise, turn down the wobble a bit. and turn down the magnitude. Next, I'm going to add a bit of reverb. And for this, I'm going to be using Vintage Verb by Valhalla. I'm going to set the mode to Bright Hall. I'm going to set the color to 1980s. Low cut it a bit and set the mix to about 10%. I'm just going to add a bit of EQ. Just a low pass, maybe make it a bit brighter. So as far as chords go, Kaytranada often uses extended chords, which are chords that uses the 9th, the 11th, or the 13th. These can be described as sort of jazzy chords. So I'm going to be playing some chords here. I'm going to be playing them separately without using a metronome, because I'm going to be stretching and timing them later in MIDI. So I'm going to play an F sharp minor 9, going into an E minor 9, going into an A7, going into a D minor 9, which is going to end with a G minor, descending the C to a B. One thing to note here is that Kaytranada often uses borrowed chords, which are chords that are not necessarily inside of the key. So for instance, F sharp minor 9, that's sort of the key we're in, but an E minor 9 is not in the key of F sharp minor, and that's going to create that sort of, yeah, jazzy feel. I've got my chords. I'm just going to time stretch everything. So I'm just going to stretch everything, find out a nice rhythm. Okay, so I came up with this rhythm. Okay, so now I've got this going. I'm going to start with the drums. So let's find a nice kick. I'm going to record it with MIDI. One shot mode. Let's record that. So let's quantize this as well. So let's keep it a little bit human. So I'm not going to quantize it all the way. Let's record in a clap as well. Like this. I'm just going to drag this clap on every 2 and 4. Let's get some heads going. These are a bit harsh, so I'm just gonna decrease some. And let's put some flanging on them. Let's also get a shaker loop going. Okay. So to decrease the high end, I'm gonna put this cassette plugin on it. And there's this pretty good preset. It's called Mellow My Harsh. Next, I'm gonna put all of my drums, except for my kick and my clap, into a group. I'm gonna name this percussion, and I'm gonna add some sidechain compression to this to really give it that pumping effect. So let's go to sidechain and sidechain that to my kick, and then play with the threshold. You can really hear that pumping. And I'm going to add this sidechain compression to the synth as well. It's really going to add that rhythm. All right, so that sounds pretty good to me. Now I'm going to create a bass. Again, for this, I'm going to be using Serum. So right now I'm in Serum, and I'm going to be using both oscillators, and I'm going to be combining a saw wave with a square wave. So I'm going to go into Analog, and I'm going to be setting my oscillator A to Basic MCB, which is a saw wave, and oscillator B, I'm going to be setting to PWM-MDC. So that sounds like this. I'm going to be turning on my sub, and I'm going to lower that 1 octave. Next, I'm going to go into my envelope controls. Make that a bit more plucky. Increase my attack. Increase the release a bit. This is where most of the sound is going to come from. So I'm going to turn on the filter. I'm going to link the envelope to the cutoff of the filter. I'm going to turn on both oscillator A and oscillator B. And let's decrease that a bit. Adjust to taste. And I'm going to increase the drive a bit. That makes it sound a bit fuller. Next, I'm going to go into the Effects tab, add some distortion. I like this Diode 1 distortion. That's a bit much, of course, so let's decrease the mix. And I'm actually going to add a bit of chorus, but not that much, just to widen it up a bit. So now I'm gonna program a bass. I'm just gonna first off find the root notes, lower that 1 octave. Alright, so now I'm gonna make the pattern a bit more interesting by using octaves and some passing notes. So I came up with this pattern. And I'm gonna add some external processing. So first off, some saturation. For bass, I really like Decapitator, and they've got some really good presets. The mid driver is pretty cool. And I'm gonna put that in parallel. So I'm gonna group Decapitator, and then I'm gonna make a dry group with nothing on it. I'm gonna name this dry. This is Decapitator. And I'm gonna mix it into taste. Then I'm gonna high pass it, the Decapitator. Add some chorus to it. And again, to give it some pumping effect, I'm gonna add some sidechain compression. I like this Kickstart plugin by Cable Guys. So it's really pumping every 1 and 2. Kaytranada often uses ARPs to add sort of some ear candy at the right moments. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. For this, I'm gonna be using the Juno 106 emulation by TAL, and I'm just gonna use the first chord of our main pad. That sounds horrible. I'm gonna go into my libraries, and I've got this purchased library by Open Soul. I'll put a link in the description. And they've got some ARPs, and I really like this. Let's see. Be Yourself ARP. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm gonna put it an octave above. I'm gonna bounce this down to audio. So I'm gonna freeze this track, make an audio track, and I'm gonna drag this down below. Now I've got this ARP in audio. But since it's ear candy, you want to use it sparingly. So I'm gonna put it, you know, at the end of 4 bars. I'm gonna duplicate this and put one octave lower. So let's group this. And now I'm gonna process this. So let's make it a bit more lo-fi by adding some EQ. Another cool way to make something a bit more muffled and lo-fi is using Melda's auto pitch, which is actually an auto-tune plugin, but we're not going to use it for auto-tune. We're just going to decrease the depth and decrease the formant shifting, sort of decreasing the audio quality. Next, I'm going to add some chorus again. I really like this Valhalla Uber mod. And let's add some delay as well. Let's put it in ping pong. To top it off, again, I'm gonna add some flanger. Meta flanger by Waves, really great one. And I'm gonna use some auto panning for some imaging. As for vocals, Kaytranada will often use sort of female R&B acapellas. I found this vocal sample in Splice, which I think would add a nice layer. So I'm just gonna drag that into Ableton, and let's get it in key. Let's add some processing, because I don't want it to be that up front. I want it to sound sampled. So let's actually add some sidechain compression to get it into that groove. Let's add some EQ. Compression. And I'm gonna add some chorus again. This is the chorus by TAL. It sort of mimics the chorus on a Juno 106. I really like this, and it's free, so you should go and get it. And let's add some delay. And I'm gonna add a bunch of reverb and delay. Like where this is going. Okay, so I'm actually gonna freeze this track, and I'm gonna pitch shift this up to 1 octave. I'm gonna add a doubler, and I'm gonna turn off the direct, so you're just hearing the sides, which adds a nice layer. Alright guys, that's how you make a Kaytranada type beat inside of Ableton. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.